Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Path of Wellness podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Barrios, and this is another rendition of Wellness Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, September 20th, and this episode of Wellness Wednesday is all about balancing with the change of the season. So, first of all, Wellness Wednesday is my weekly segment where I discuss all of the various things that I personally am doing to help keep myself well. So this is from the perspective of an acupuncturist, shaman, who is just trying to be as healthy and well and thrive in 2023 and just in modern life in general. So it's the 20th. We are officially 2 days away from the fall equinox. So we're in the very last days of summer. It's almost sad to see it go, but also I love the fall. It's my favorite season. So I welcome it. I love the change of the season into fall. So the 22nd in 2 days is the official first day of fall. It's the fall equinox. The equinox, it means we have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. So we have 2 equinoxes every year. We've got the fall equinox and the spring equinox, and they're the 2 points of the year where it's relatively equal, day and night. And then once we're past the fall equinox, we gradually start having less and less daylight every day, and we have more and more nighttime until we get to the winter solstice, which is the longest night, shortest day of the year. That's right around Christmas time. So the fall equinox, we've been heading into the fall season since the summer solstice in June, which is the longest day of the year, shortest night. Because once we hit the peak of the longest day of the year, then we gradually start getting less and less daylight every day. So when we hit the fall equinox, it's like peak fall energy, and then we're technically, by definition, officially in the fall season for the next 3 months until the winter solstice. But we've been heading into the fall season for the last 3 months. Now it's just like the peak energy. And even though, like, depending on where you live, you might not have experienced cooler temperatures yet. I live in the Phoenix area. We don't start feeling cooler temperatures until, like, really cooler temperatures until right before Halloween, typically. So we still have a little ways to go before we start really cooling off. But even if you live in a place like the desert where our seasons are just a little bit different, you can still feel the fall energy in the air. Like, you can just tell. It feels different. There's less daylight for one. Like, it gets dark a lot earlier now. The sun is starting to come up a lot later. Like, you can tell all of those things. You can also just kind of feel it in the air. It's like the energy starts to slow down. Even if your life is still busy, the overall vibe begins to slow down. It's like we take the peak, just very expansive and vivacious energy of summer, like moving and, constantly growing and evolving, and like it gradually comes down. It starts to slow down. We start to go within. It's like a contracting sort of energy, whereas spring and summer energy is like expansive, into the fall and winter is like a more contractive. Is that a word? An energy that kind of brings everything within. Like, you can feel it. It also, we start to come out of monsoon season in Phoenix anyways around this time of year. So it literally gets drier. Like, you can feel the dryness in the air. This is the time of year when you're going to start shocking everybody. Like, literally, when you walk across carpet, you just, you're electrified with static electricity, shocking everybody. Your hair starts standing up on end because of all the static. Like, this is the time of year when all that starts happening. It's kind of funny, in my opinion, that there's a season for static electricity. And so, something that I have found really helpful to help me maintain balance and to feel well and like transition into the fall season is, well, one, to get acupuncture, and two, to just kind of harmonize myself for this time of year. So, what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, all of those energies that I was just talking about, how this is like the time where we start to slow down, we start to look within. We're prepping for the winter season where, in theory, or, if we lived in a more traditional, like natural society, we would be hibernating in the wintertime. The fall is like the preparation for that, like we would have our final harvest and we're starting to like make sure that we've got enough food saved up and we're preparing to go within. So harmonizing through the fall season for me, and what helps me to feel well and like I'm connected to the spirit world and to the bigger picture, which I think for sure helps me with anxiety, is when I feel like I'm connected, is to harmonize with the fall season. So what that means is I purposely start to slow down. In real life, what this looks like is I slow down my exercise routine. I typically do more intense types of exercise in the summer, like in the spring and the summer months, because the energy is more expansive during those times of year. In the fall and the winter, I still want to be moving because we should be. And I'm a wood person. That's 5 elements. We'll talk about 5 elements another day, but just for reference, I'm a wood person. I need to be moving like all the time. But I do really try to respect the vibe of the season, and I change my exercise routine at this time of year. So I start to do more gentle type stuff. Like this is the time of year where I'm doing more yoga or Pilates or less or less high impact exercise. So that's one way that I help to stay in balance through this season. I also, I'll go to bed earlier. I'll start to wake up just a little bit later. I know that that's not possible for everybody depending on your schedules. But in Arizona in particular, where we do not observe the time change, most of Arizona, um, I'm pretty sure it's Navajo Nation near the Grand Canyon. If I have the wrong tribe, I so apologize, but I'm pretty sure it's Navajo Nation. They do observe the time change, but otherwise the rest of Arizona does not. And because of that, I feel like we can more naturally see what's happening with the sun and what time it's coming up and what time it's setting every day. Therefore, at this time of year, you can tell, like, oh, the sun doesn't come up until later. Like, I can sleep a little bit later because there's no sunlight yet. So that's one thing. Another thing that I'll do, like I'll slow down my exercise routine and I'll let myself sleep just a little bit later. I will also start to change what I'm eating. So the fall, I mentioned it's a dry time of year. This is a really good time of year to incorporate more moistening foods into your diet. One of the really big ones is pears. And pears are in season at this time of year. It's no coincidence. The fall season in Chinese medicine is the metal time of year. I just mentioned I'm a wood person. There are 5 elements in Chinese medicine: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. They all correlate to a different season and they all have their own like various aspects to them. Because there's 5 elements and there's only 4 seasons, the 5th season is the earth season. We're actually in earth time right now, technically, like the very end of summer, because it's still technically summer. This is earth time. It's mixed in with fire time. Like we have 2 elements that are dominant at the end of summer. The fall is when we head into the metal time of year. There are dominant organs, like organs within the body, for each season and for each element. the fall season is the metal element. The dominant organs are the lungs and the large intestine. There's also emotions, like dominant emotions that are tied into this. The fall season is, or the metal element, the dominant emotion is grief and sadness. What that means is that you're more likely to experience those types of feelings at this time of year, or you might be more likely to be a little melancholy. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or that you need to be worried or anything. It's kind of normal. I mean, we're starting to withdraw, we're starting to wind down. The expansive energy of summertime is coming to an end. Like, it kind of makes sense that you would feel a little bit more melancholy at this time of year. But this is also why trying to harmonize through the season will make this transition easier for you. Acupuncture is really, really good for this. The way I do this in my practice, I just mentioned the lungs and the large intestine are the two dominant elements at this time of year, or the two dominant organs for the element of this time of year. I have special points that I use only in the fall that harmonize those two organs. So I like to do that for my clients. I like to do it on myself as well. I feel like it helps give you an edge. Like, it just gets you through the season easier. Plus, it also boosts the health of your lungs and your large intestine. And as we've been talking about all month, September's theme is all about boosting your immune system. I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention that earlier in the episode at the beginning when I was supposed to. But it's all about boosting your immune system, because this is when we head into sick season. And the lungs are the dominant organ at this time of year. And it's also really dry. Like, it's no coincidence that we start to see more upper respiratory issues at this time of year, because the lungs are the dominant element. Like, it makes sense. Any lung issues or sick issues, or like sinus issues, the lungs open to the nose. So whenever you have a nose or an allergy issue or something, there's something going on with the lungs in Chinese medicine, like from that perspective. And so it's no coincidence that people have more issues with being sick at this time of year, which is why we need to balance the metal element and just get you harmonized through the season. So acupuncture is really good for that. Slowing down, changing up your routine as much as possible so that you are embracing this going within energy, eating more moistening foods, like the pears are really good. For people, by the way, who are prone to dry coughs, getting some pears, chopping them up, steaming them really lightly, and adding honey to it will be your best medicine. Give it a try. It tastes really good. If your kids suffer from dry cough at this time of year, this is something that they will actually eat. Like, they can eat their medicine because it tastes delicious and it's so nourishing. It will just make you feel a lot better, and it will soothe your dry cough like nothing else. So there's your extra Wellness Wednesday tip for today. And then, yeah, like the lungs also open to they control the skin in Chinese medicine. And it's also common for me as a practitioner to see people with more skin issues flaring up during the fall or the metal season. Like, eczema becomes more prominent at this time of year with just the dry weather and the lungs being dominant. The lungs control the skin. Like, it all makes sense. Like, that's why I love Chinese medicine and the 5 elements, because once you learn it and you understand it, you can then look at life and it all just comes together. It all just makes sense. Oh, okay. I need to just nourish my body. I need to nourish my lungs. And the large intestine can be involved in here too. Like, people might be more prone to constipation in particular at this time of year. If that's happened to you, go see an acupuncturist. Get some pears, soak them in honey, and just allow yourself the time to slow down. I feel like the slowing down component is wildly overlooked in modern society, especially American society. We are such a masculine, go, 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 yang type culture. So there's yin and yang in Chinese medicine. Most people have heard of the terms yin and yang. We just came out of, or are coming out of yang season. So spring and summer, those are the yang months of the year where it's expansive, energetic, hot, and we're now coming into the yin time of year. Fall and winter, like I said, contraction, going within, slowing down, those are all yin qualities. And we have such a block around yin, or, the more feminine aspect of just slowing down. But if you don't slow down, what happens? You get sick or you get injured. Something happens to force you to slow down. And I'm hoping that with this month's Wellness Wednesday theme being about boosting your immune system, I'm hoping that this will help you, give you some tools to boost your immune system and prevent you from experiencing something that you don't want to experience, and allowing you the space to just listen to your body, to just take better care of it, to give yourself the time to rest. When all of these things happen, you're much less likely to get sick, and you're much more likely to get through the holiday season with ease and grace. So with that, happy almost fall equinox. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Wellness Wednesday.